Greetings. This is General CJG here, coming to you with, well, the next story arc of Tales of the Jedi, and one of the best, if you ask me. So, this time, joining me here is...
This is the Spider-Man Maniac, back for another Tales of the Jedi.
And...
Django Fett, ready to talk about some spoilers. Mandalorians!
well, it's not much of a spoiler since the Mandalorian is in the cover of the first issue, so so it's not really a spoiler. So there is that. So yes, we're basically talking about Tales of the Jedi, the Sith War. Oh yes, this is gonna be good. Quick note, King is sadly not going to be joining us because he has some real life priorities, so he won't be joining us on this one. So it's just going to be us three. So for now, we're kicking off issue 1, and Doan, take it away.
In the Theta system, Mandalore the Indomitable is attracted by the activities Uli Kyogroma and Alima Kettle's actions. Is known to Mandalore the Indomitable, and he's like, hey, these guys are starting to get annoying, so we're gonna fight them. So he contacts Uli Kyogroma and says like, hey, I think it's kind of pointless to our enemies to fight each other, so why don't you and I fight each other, because they'll be much simpler. Meanwhile, in Ossus, Exar Kun proves that he was the one who destroyed Freedom Knot Spirit by using an amulet, and the other Jedis are convinced, I guess. And we see a battle between Mandalore and Kyogroma, and like all you know, Mandalore is defeated. But instead of killing Mandalore, Uli decides to keep him alive for a greater purpose. In another location, they're in a Jedi library. Nomi Sunrider and her daughter and a Jedi called Ordoner are discussing about holocrons and stuff. But Exar Kun is watching this from a distance. Or not really far, because he's right behind a wall, and they seem to not know that he's even there. That's convenient. And Exar Kun uses the Force to get the holocron, and then he kills Odon Dor. In a different location, Uli and Mandalore attacks the shipyard in order to plan the invasion of Coruscant. And Uli contacts Exar Kun to say that he's gonna attack Coruscant, and Exar Kun is saying like, you idiot, we need to plan, and Mandalore is like, hey, we can do this fully well. Yeah, right. And then Exar Kun is like, hey, you decided this, if you fail, I'm not gonna be responsible for your actions. And that's how the first issue ends.
Okay, so what do you guys think of this one?
Finally, some Mandalorians. I gotta mention something. For some weird reason, in the 1990s EU, you don't see a single Mandalorian, or at least, according to my knowledge, other than Boba Fett. And even then, he wasn't even considered a Mandalorian in the 90s. So I don't know if that even counts.
Well, let's also not forget the Mandalorians in the classic Marvel comics.
Yeah, but that was the 80s.
You're talking about 90s AU?
Yeah, 90s.
As in
90s.
trilogy and stuff. Well, yeah, you might be right on that, because as far as I know, unless we count, no, actually, you're pretty much right. There isn't really any 90s, unless it deals with Boba Fett. Yeah, we don't really see any other Mandalorians.
And even he wasn't really considered a Mandalorian because the 90s expanded universe tried to pull some weird stuff by trying to make him not a Mandalorian, or what if he's a Mandalorian? Yeah, it's really weird.
I thought that was either Attack of the Clones or TCW. I didn't know the 90s did that.
It does something like that.
I see. Anyway, so yeah, Mandalorians in the Old Republic. That's something that we didn't really see until now. So.
And as you can see, if you have two eyes, the mask looks different from the Mandalorians we see nowadays.
Yep, the entire armor is different. So there is that. The Django, what do you think?
Yeah, There's quite a bit. So first off with the Mandalorians, yeah, all the Mandalorians have their own distinct look, and they're riding atop the Basilisk war droids. And yeah, I mean, just the fact that we have, not talking about Boba Fett, but we're talking about the Mandalorians from the Old Republic era, with first appearance. So I thought that was great. And just the duel with him, Mandalore the Indomitable, who is a Tong, not a human, and fighting against Ulik, that was just a great fight. So I loved that. And, towards the end, you have the Mandalorians working with the Sith forces, so they become part of the Sith with that. And Ulik ends up doing something stupid, or wanting to do something stupid, and it seems like Exar is more of the tactician, and wants to take more time before actually doing these big actions and attacking all these different worlds. So he's kind of like behind the scenes and wants to influence the Sith, and influence the Jedi to become the Sith, to join their side.
If you watch carefully in one of the panels, Exar Kun is hitting, not Exar Kun, Ulik is hitting the axe Mandalore is using with a lightsaber, and you can see that thing does not break, which led me to assume that this thing is made out of Beskar.
I mean, not surprised. And here is considered Mandalorian iron, and he's fighting Mandalorian, so...
No,
yeah.
It is called Beskar in the EU also.
Well, yes, but I'm talking about Tales of the Jedi. They call it Mandalorian iron, so you can put the two and two together. So there is that.
It was a relatively close fight for the most part. It wasn't actually like he was struggling through most of it. It was pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, pushing someone up from a cliff isn't really combat skills, if you know what I'm talking about.
There's that, yeah.
And Mandalore is like saying a glorious combat. And not really, but go on.
Okay, yeah. Can I mention how this comic starts literally portraying Ulik Kyogroma as something different? Like, he literally looks like deep into the dark side, just as much as Exar Kun. Like, both of them truly look like Sith Lords. Like, menacing badasses. Which is definitely, excellent. Just as we wanted to see.
And I don't know about that. The armor Alima is wearing, that looks kind of weird. It looks like the foster mother from Snow White with different color.
That's something. So there is that. I'm wondering how is it that... Well, I guess maybe because they're Padawans, so they don't know that skill, but I'm surprised that the Jedi cannot sense Exar Kun's dark side. Only the Jedi Masters can, which is interesting.
Yeah, a little odd.
Yeah, you think they'd be like, hey, wait, we sense the dark side in you. Are you a dark Jedi or a Sith? Well, they wouldn't even know if he's a Sith unless he says it. But I guess they can't really sense the dark side yet. Maybe the Masters didn't teach them that. So there's that.
And yet we have another weird coloring thing, where Exar Kun's hologram is now red. What is up with these colors?
Yeah, it's red. I mean, I don't know. I just interpret it as maybe whatever device Ulik has, like a holo communications device he has. It just puts it in red. I don't know. I mean, it's not out of the realm possibility that Star Wars maybe has some holo communications devices that don't portray it in blue. I mean, it's not out of the realm possibility.
I think there's something weird going on with this comic. Like, the lightsaber colors and the holograms are actually different. But these people drawing this and coloring it intentionally doing this to make us more confused as possible. I don't think this is really the most accurate depiction.
I don't know, but I'll say this, and here we actually get Ulik Kyogroma's lightsaber in green.
Oh yeah.
So there's that. Indeed. Anyway, so anything else to mention on this issue?
Did we mention that this was set 6 months before Dark Lords of the Sith?
Oh, no, we didn't say that. This is 6 months after the end of Dark Lords of the Sith.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, where is it stated?
Where's it stated? Oh, it's stated in the very first page.
First page, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The small opening crawl before the first panel.
So, what were they doing for? Like, what's Nomi and all these Jedi doing for the last 6 months? Like, man, these people are incompetent.
No idea. What we can assume is that Exar Kun and Uli Kyogroma must have been reuniting all sorts of armies and resources in order to start the Sith War. Because you remember back in the Dark Lords of the Sith, they didn't have much other than just the craft. That's all they had. But that's it. So,
Right.
anyway, anything else to mention here? No? Okay, then now we go to issue 2. So, do you guys want me to take it, or you want to take it to Django?
You can do it.
Okay. So, issue 2. We're seeing the remains of the Battle of the Republic shipyard at Fort Rust. And then we're seeing that another fleet of the Galactic Republic is checking the remains of the fleet. And they managed to find a security cam device. Yeah, pretty much the automated security system. They pretty much found a recording of who attacked. And they see that it is Uli Kyogroma. Yep. So they go to Coruscant to relay the news to the Jedi. And the Jedi, well, some of them are in disbelief. In particular, Kyogroma, which makes sense because he is Uli Kyogroma's brother. So, and right as they're discussing that, well, too late, because the Sith are already attacking. So, yep, the attack started, and meanwhile, Exar Kun went back to Yavin 4, and in there, he's gonna pretty much indoctrinate the Jedi that joined him to join Exar Kun. But in order to do that, well, he intends to use the Sith holocron that he got. And, well, Exar Kun is showcasing the Sith holocron in front of him. And, well, Exar Kun decides to break the Sith holocron. And the spikes of the remains of the Sith holocron are... They hit the hands of the Jedi. And that pretty much puts them into some sort of a Sith magic spell in which Exar Kun now controls them. And, yep, now they're his servants. Meanwhile, back in Coruscant, well, the battle is going on. It's fierce. It's certainly a tough one. And meanwhile, Uli Kyogroma, the Mandalorians, they're all ready to strike, and they're beginning their assault. And, well, they're going all the way into the heart of Coruscant, command center, the ones that are pretty much leading the Galactic Republic forces. And while they're at it, Alima Keto decides to... She has some plans of her own. Then, well, the Jedi are trying to fend off the enemies, but with no avail. Uli Kyogroma manages to reach the command center. He finds the Republic troops. He force chokes one of them and subdues them into pretty much sending the Republic fleet to deploy the squadrons into the Bento system shipyards. So that way they can pretty much just destroy the fleets, like pretty much fight each other. But the moment he's doing that, well, Alima Keto decides to pretty much tell the Mandalorians to back away, to rejoin the fleet. And Mandalore the Indomitable is like, wait, what? Why? Explain yourself. And Alima pretty much says, Kyldroma's dead. Gotta get out of here. And Mandalore has no choice but to pretty much obey that. And they pull out, and the Jedi manage to capture Uli Kyogroma with using a force power called the Wall of Light, which is interesting. So there's that. And meanwhile, Exar Kun is pretty much preparing his attack by sending his Jedi pupils to, well, pretty much kill the Jedi Masters. Kill all the Jedi. And that's how the issue ends. So, yeah, what do you guys think of this one?
First, another thing to mention. Uli Kyograma's lightsaber is blue! What the
Right, as it was green in the previous one.
It's blue again! God damn it.
Well, I can say a good reason why, but I'll say it when we get to issue 6, when we talk about the art style as a whole. So, there is that. But yeah, other than that, what do you guys think?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think it was pretty interesting how Exar Kun released the holocron, and he crushed it. And it is said that he did not want to destroy, but to release. So after centuries and centuries locked in the holocron, some of the faint remnants of the Sith are freed forever. So there were Sith souls, I guess, embedded in that holocron, and then they went into possess the Jedi themselves. So that was something new. I never thought that would happen.
And I find it interesting that Exar Kun is constantly returning to Yavin 4. I mean, at this point, if you're reading this, you should be aware of Jedi Academy trilogy. Is it really a spoiler to mention what happens to XR Kun?
Let's wait for that.
We should wait for that. But it's obvious why he returns to Yavin 4 often, because not only is it his home base, but it's also where he can pretty much, well, that's where the Masashi are, so he might as well just use them for whatever schemes he needs, like either making some Sith alchemy or whatever. So, yeah, there's that. That's the main reason. It's his home base.
What I have to mention is, Yavin 4 is the most, how should I describe it? The most Star Wars-y location in this entire series. Now, what I mean by Star Wars-y is the original trilogy, because these past issues look like some kind of a alternate reality Rome or Egypt stories. It doesn't really look like Star Wars.
Well, I can say that more for the first story arcs. As time goes on, it definitely does start to look more and more like Star Wars. So, but I could see why you say that, in particular with the first story arcs.
And Yavin 4 is actually a familiar location.
That too. So, yep, there is that. What do you guys think in regards to Ulic Kyogroma pretty much attacking Coruscant?
Completely dumb. I mean, like, you need to amass a massive force before you get to that point, and to rush in and attack it immediately, like, that was incredibly dumb by him.
It was dumb, but if you ask me, he actually could have succeeded. The problem was, well, Ali Maketo decided to betray Ulic Kyogroma and leave him alone. So it actually could have worked. It's just that the plan didn't go as it was intended to. That was a problem.
And what we can see is that you're going to have a certain pattern in future news stories also. If you want to take over the main government of the galaxy, you always have to attack Coruscant. I mean, you see, even in the old Republic, SWTOR, you have the Sith attacking Coruscant. The Clone Wars, General Grievous attacks Coruscant. The Yuuzhan Vong attacks the Coruscant. The One Sith attacks the Coruscant. It's kind of getting tired. I understand the reason why they're attacking Coruscant. It's a plot point that is getting tired.
I mean, it's tired, but it's understandable why. It's the heart of the Republic, so by default, it's going to be the one place they attack. It's similar to how in real life of history, like their specific armies are gonna have their main capital or their main city that is their stronghold, and that's gonna be the one that they attack. So it makes sense that Coruscant will always be the planet that whatever invading forces invading the Star Wars galaxy have to take in order to pretty much at least conquer the core worlds. So it makes sense. I mean, it's more than I can say than say, well, a certain trilogy that doesn't even reference Coruscant.
And another design choice I have to say is Alima Lard's robes or her costume looks atrocious to look at. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
I don't know why she decided to change clothes into, whatever the hell she's wearing. Like, I don't know. I guess she needed some armor? I don't know. It's weird. So, yeah, there is that. Can I mention how Ulic Kyogroma finally does force grip, as in choking a Republic trooper? That's one hell of a... That's definitely something that, well, as a Sith Lord, yeah, why not? So...
And, Odo is like, Jedi and traitor, you will stand trial and you will be sentenced to death. Dude, are you supposed to be a Jedi? What about the redemption and all? Yeah, you're just gonna die. Like, what is this?
Oh wait, no, it was not Bodo who did that. It was one of the senators from the Republic, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, it was not Bodo.
Oh no, it wasn't. No, I'm confusing. It was the Chancellor.
Yeah, it was a Chancellor. So.
And let me tell you before people get confused, he's not called a Chancellor in here. I think it's referred as the President of the Senate because the prequels didn't exist yet, but the term is still used. Same.
Yeah, indeed. So,
but I'm gonna call him Chancellor because screw them.
There is that. Oh no, he actually is the Supreme Chancellor of the Republic. He's actually confirmed to be Supreme Chancellor. So
yeah, but here's the thing: it was before the prequels, so they weren't called the Chancellor.
Interesting. Okay. So, anything else to say on this issue?
No.
Okay, well, now we go into issue 3. And, well, this time, the Django, now it's your turn. Take it away.
Okay, so we start off with the Jedi Master of Exar Kun, just retelling the events of what happened in Dark Lords of the Sith and kind of like, coming up to this point. And he knows that something big is going to happen in Coruscant, so he gets ready and gets his staff that can, pretty much kind of block lightsaber attacks, which is pretty crazy. But he gets ready and he sets out for Coruscant. Then we get on to Sinagar in the Empress Data system with Alima, and she just tortures some of her people. Yeah, just because they want to join with Ulik and stuff like that. So she just doesn't want any insurgency or anything like that. So she tortures them, and then she talks with a Mandalore, and just kind of like she just wants him on her side. But Mandalore has his own plans. He's not like going to fall for her bull crap. But he's saying that I swore my oath to Ulik, not to you.
Of course.
So she wants to get her army ready, and you notice also that Alima has a different set of armor. She always keeps on changing her armor. I think this is a much more appropriate armor, I must say, than the other armors that she's worn before.
Yeah.
But they're preparing for an assault, and it looks like they are getting ready. And then we get on to Coruscant, and Kay is like, spare Ulik in some way. We can save him. But even Nomi is like, this is not the same Ulik. This is not the same man. So Ulik is chained, and he's ready to be on trial, waiting his judgment in front of the entire Senate. And on Yavin 4, we have Exar Kun getting his forces ready, and he tells them to pretty much go and seek out their masters. So these Sith-possessed Jedi are seeking their masters, and you can expect to know what happens. Once they launch off, he goes to Coruscant. So he gets ready to go to Coruscant, and he ends up meeting with Mandalore. So they tell him that, okay, let's go to Coruscant and meet with these people. So on Coruscant, everyone is judging him. Nobody's on his side, of course. And he says the lost glory of the Sith will turn all of your supposed accomplishments to dust. Everyone's pissed, and Nomi's just disappointed. Kay is disappointed. They want him spared and want to redeem Ulik, but he doesn't want it. And opening in this grand entrance, Exar Kun comes with Mandalore in the background, and he comes to ruin the party. And in a rage, Silvar, she attacks the Masasi and wants to just attack Exar Kun from that point on. So he comes to free Ulik. Exar actually ends up using the Sith amulet to go behind the president of the Senate and just do this almost horrific thing and just possess him and just tell him that, about the Sith, they're coming, we're gonna just end up destroying you all. And he dies right then and there, that president. And then we have the Master of Exar coming on cue to face off against Exar. He says, "You have been busy, Exar, building, planning, demolishing." And Exar is just says, "You should see all I have accomplished. It's magnificent, better than anything in the Holocron." So they fight in this epic lightsaber duel. And this time, we see Exar has a trick up his sleeve, and he uses a double-bladed lightsaber. The first version of it, and this would be an inspiration for Episode 1 with Darth Maul. And in one strike, he ends up killing his master right then and there. And everyone is distraught, and he ends up leaving. And Silvar is in a rage, and she wants to kill him, but she doesn't do that. And she's distraught. Everyone is distraught over this. And they think they have the advantage, and it ends right then and there.
Well, what do you guys think?
Yeah, for something I noticed is that the Senate chamber changed. The last time we saw the Senate chamber in Tales of the Jedi was a table and a bunch of chairs. It was the lamest thing you could ever imagine. You remember that?
Oh yeah, and didn't the Tron trilogy was lit in the comic was nothing but just a mere table? In here, at least it looks more grandiose.
Yeah, so it's starting. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but it's starting to look more towards the prequels.
Yeah,
Bigger seats
indeed.
and a chancellor in the middle.
Yeah, slowly they're getting more and more into the Senate chambers that we know in the prequels.
And Exar Kun kills the chancellor, which is like, yeah.
Yep. And he didn't kill him, but just like attacking him or anything. He just like literally like just used the amulet to like trick him, manipulate him into saying stuff, and then like he literally either force drained him or something. Like that was insane.
And then we
Yeah.
finally get to see the double-bladed lightsaber.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The double-bladed lightsaber. This is where it got its origins. Well, people were wondering why Exar Kun is so badass. Well, this is one reason why. So, yep. There is that. Anything else, guys?
Yep. So yeah, before when XR Kun comes and they have that encounter, before that point, Kay and Anomi are still like, hey, you got to stop this, Ulik. Why are you still going down this path? And he still just like doesn't get it to this point, and he just says that Nomi, I've told you time and time again to stop interfering. I've made my own choice. Don't force me to hurt you. But it's like they were trying to help you from a situation that you kind of put yourself into, and you don't see that you've gone down the dark side. So it's just like he's too far gone at this point to even see. His judgment is clouded.
It is very clouded. Though, if you guys remember
Okay.
from the previous story arc, they could have stopped it, but well, they just let Ulik stay with Alima because it's his choice. Remember? Great.
And you can see in the panel that Mandalore is loyal to Ulik, and I don't think that's just because he lost the battle. He's actually loyal to Ulik, and even goes far to, bow down to Exar Kun to ask for his help. I found that interesting.
If I'm not mistaken, Mandalorians definitely have a honor type in their code. I don't know if it's part of the Resonare, but I know the Mandalorians definitely are. They're honorable to the point they'll keep the end of their deal. So
Yeah.
So yeah, not surprised there. But yeah. So despite the fact that Ulik failed in his attack at Coruscant, they still managed to pretty much turn the tables in regards to the Republic's victory in getting Kyogroma, because all they got was Exar Kun pretty much joining in the party and managing to not only kill the Chancellor, but also kill Master Borosia's boss. So
Yeah, because you won't see this in the Clone Wars, nor the, Knights of the Old Republic or any other era with Sith, where the enemy faction just literally goes into the Senate chamber and kills the leader. Like, yeah, that is why Exar Kun is so badass.
yeah, he is really badass.
You won't see this in any other Star Wars comics or stories.
No, we won't. So this is definitely amazing to see. So, yep, indeed. Anything else, guys?
No.
Okay, so now we go to issue 4. And, well, in here, we're back to in Yavin 4, and Ulik Kyogroma is discussing with Mandalore that it's Alima who betrayed you. I have proof. She was the one that allowed you to get captured. And, well, they're pretty much thinking of how to get rid of her, and, well, they're gonna pretty much do that. Then, back in Ambria, aka the place where Master Dawn trained Nomi, and they're pretty much there trying to get some quiet peace, or quiet healing, as it's called here in the comic, and for further training. But well, their peacefulness and quietness is interrupted because, well, Oswillem, manipulated by the Sith Holocron's essence, he's paying a visit, and he's using the dark side creatures that Dawn has been keeping at bay to pretty much go and attack and kill Master Dawn and kill the Jedi. And a battle strikes, and well, let's just say that Oswillem's attack was not successful. He pretty much was defeated. The only one that escaped was Kratos. So Kratos escaped. They captured Oswillem, and well, there's that. But while they managed to not have Master Thrawn dead, well, other Jedi Masters were not really lucky because we're seeing that other Jedi Masters were killed by their students, the ones that are possessed by the Sith Holocron's essence, which not good. And then we see another Jedi student pretty much killing the Master, and she managed to do it. So yeah, sucks. And then 3 Jedi are investigating who could have killed a Jedi Master, and well, though actually it wasn't just the Jedi Master that died, also the student. So both died, and so yeah, they're pretty much saying Ulic Kyogroma and Exar Kun, this is their doing. So there's that. Back at Yavin 4, well, we're seeing the Masasu Temple. They're pretty much planning the plan. So Alima is going to pretty much be spearheading this attack on the Krone system in order to, well, pretty much strike at the Republic forces. And, well, they put the plan underway. So Alima's going to be the one spearheading it. She's going to be using Naga Sadao's ship because it's fully powered with Sith magic. So that's going to make her powers even stronger. So there's that. Oh, they even take Kratos in that ship. So there's that. Then the Jedi are planning to send somebody to pretty much counterattack that attack that Exar Kun sent. And so they go to the Kemplex 9 in the Krone cluster. And, well, the attack begins. So Alima is there close to the Suns using the Nagasato ship. And the Republic see her, and, well, she uses her Sith magic to pretty much make the Suns, well, their cores absolutely obliterated, and let's just say the Suns cause a freaking supernova. It worked, but there was one problem in the plan, and it's one that Alima couldn't foresee, but it was planned by Exar Kun all along. The supernova would be too strong to be unable to contain, and therefore it not only did it vaporize the Republic fleet and the Jedi that were there, but also vaporized Alima, Keto, and Kratos. So, yep, they also went down. And, yep, so pretty much Exar Kun's plan completely worked, and they caused the humongous supernova. And so now, well, they're pretty much ready to do the next phase of their plan, and that's where the issue ends. So, what do you guys think of this one?
Goes to show you that if you're not a powerful user in the dark side, you could end up being like Alima and just dying with controlling the Naga Sadao ship. So you have to be a pretty powerful Sith Lord in that regard. I mean, Exar Kun, Ulic could do it, but Alima, no chance whatsoever.
Yep. There's that. That one, what do you think?
Well, I'm confused. Is Alima dead here or what?
Yeah, she died. Like, the supernova obliterated the entire Republic fleet and also Nagasado's ship.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing. But, yeah, I see that Ulic is like, didn't forget, and he's like, was it when Mandalore questions Ulic, why are you not letting me do it? Ulic is like, it seems like Ulic at the time is like oblivious to what is happening and just lets Alima live because he doesn't care. But he knows, he remembers what Alima does, and like, he's like, bitch, you think you could betray me and just get away with it? Not a chance.
No, he knew. He wasn't oblivious. It was just part of Exar Kun's plan.
No, he acts like that. He acts like he doesn't care, and that's the thing.
Well, it was for the better good. So rather than just kill her in the act, they decided to put her to use by not only taking care of her, but also taking care of some of the Republic fleet. So it worked in the end. So, yeah. And not to mention, I'm pretty sure Ulic knew that they were sending Alima to pretty much die because, well, if Mandalore went, well, they would have lost Mandalore the Indomitable, not to mention some Mandalorians. And they're way more useful than Alima is at this point.
Yeah.
Now, something that was very surprising is, well, Oswillem manages to remove whatever light side of the Force that Dawn was using to pretty much keep the dark side creatures at bay from Ambria and unleash them to kill Master Dawn and the Jedi. Like, damn, that's something. Like, when you first read the second story of Close to Jedi, you wouldn't think that Oswillem literally would be the one doing this to his own master and to his Jedi friends. Like, holy shit.
And the dark side corrupted the individual.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Even goes as far as Master Ton literally saying, "Ask Willem, my own student, where did I fail you?" Though in reality, Oz was just pretty much manipulated by the Sith holocron, so it wasn't truly his own doing. So compared to like Kyogroma, where he actually is fully taken to fall into the dark side. Yeah. So there is that. What else are we gonna mention? Oh, Kratos. Well, he pretty much escaped from the battle in Ambria, and that pretty much sealed his fate on Exar Kun, pretty much wanting to just get rid of Kratos because he's just becoming a nuisance. So, yep. So
Yeah, and we also have to mention that the other Jedi who turned into Sith, the Dark Jedi, end up killing 8 Jedi Masters in total.
which is definitely a good amount of number of Jedi. So there's that. Anyways, anything else to mention on this one, guys?
Oh, we finally see a new lightsaber color, yellow. And it's kind of interesting that these comics start to use more than one lightsaber colors in each for different different person. And we actually see a yellow lightsaber in one panel, green one, a blue one, every other color than red.
Yep. So, yep, definitely using all sorts of lightsabers. So there is that. Anyway, anything else?
No.
Okay, well, now we go to the next issue. Issue 5. So this one, well, Django, take it away.
Yeah. So, amid the destruction from the last issue on Ossus, Exar Kun and Ulik get ready to attack that area. Yeah, just to get some easy pickings from there. And Mandalore is sent to the Dark Citadel of Isis on Onderon. So they attack there, and then the Jedi and the rest of the civilians at the Jedi Library on Ossus are trying to get as much stuff as they can to flee. And apparently Toph Donata, Kay, and Nomi, and Master Thon are there too, incidentally. And yeah, Kay senses Ulik is in the area, and Kay ends up saying like he just tracks him and tries to coordinate with him just to come down and talk about these things. So the Mandalorians are ended up to attack that area, and then Exar Kun comes and wants to take as much stuff as possible. And he meets with a tree Jedi, Adbanar. He duels with Exar Kun and ends up getting injured in the fight, and he decides to protect the lightsabers and grows into this giant tree to protect the lightsabers and other artifacts that are in there. And that prevents Exar Kun from getting them, so he ends up winning in that end.
Yep.
Sacrificing a lot. That needs to be said. So Exar Kun, deciding to go a different route and tries to find some other scrolls, ends up meeting with Silvar again. And she is just freaking destroying these Masasi. And yeah, Exar Kun's like, just deal with her and die in the process. I don't care. Just whatever. But she ends up being incapacitated by one of the Masasi warriors, and he decides to flee from there. So, in the end, I don't think he really got any of the artifacts from the Jedi library at all. So that ended up being kind of a waste for him. So Toph Donata and the rest are getting as many artifacts as they can, and Ulik ends up crash landing and meets up with his brother Kay, who is injured in the process too. So he's pretty weak. And Kay brings out his lightsaber and he says, I don't want to do this. But he wants to save him from the dark side. And he duels with his brother, and of course, once again, I've lost count at this point, but Kay loses his arm for the third time by Ulik Kyogroma, his robotic arm. And Ulik then just said, then you should have just left me alone, and just slashes at his brother and kills him. And it isn't until then that he realized that he's done something horribly wrong. And he holds his brother in his arms and is just distraught. And he loses his touch with he's not clouded with the dark side from that point on, and it just ends with him just holding his brother in his arms.
So, what do you guys think of this one?
For once, I have to mention that, well, Kay gets his arm sliced up yet again.
Yeah, he did get his arm sliced. Though I'm not gonna lie, even though we do make fun of Kay losing his arm. At the end of the day, I actually felt pretty sad seeing Kay pretty much dying at the hands of his own brother, because his brother was pretty much completely taken by a dark side, and it was only until his brother killed Kay that he realized what he has done, what he's been doing.
Yeah,
So I actually
agree.
felt pretty sad about that.
Yeah, I mean, like as bad as Kay has been, as bad as Ulik has been, you definitely didn't want him to see him kill his own brother, and especially Kay, who just seemed like a genuine good Jedi, fairly weak in comparison, but still like someone who you care about, and throughout these entire stories. So just to see him die, like especially from his brother, is I'm glad he changed from that. He's not like a hardened person like Ulik would have been, like if he was down the dark side. He's just like kind of like his eyes are open from that point on.
Yeah.
And one thing I need to mention is like these cats are kind of different. If you have to watch Silvar in one panel where it says, "Now you die by my lightsaber." Now that part is really weird because the artist who's drawing the Cathars in these comics, or at least this iteration, did not seem to bother to differentiate between females, their species, and male species, and it's kind of weird to see that face with that outfit.
I guess there's that, yeah. The Cathars definitely look different in Dark Lords of the Sith compared to here. So
And
I
just
guess
look at Juhani, and you know that she's a female member of her species, not a male. But like seriously, artists, like why did you make them indistinguishable whether which is a male or not, or female? Like why do you do that?
I don't know. I guess they were still trying to figure out how to what was the definitive way the Cathars look like. I don't know. So
Yeah, this was kind of like the first
second.
like like the appearances and stuff like that of the Cathar. So it's like they weren't really like they were cat-like people, but they weren't like properly done like Knights of the Republic and stuff like that. So
There is that. I do have to mention that it is great that we're seeing the Massassi definitely fighting, instead of just seeing them in Dark Lords of the Sith just wailing on Exar Kun and Exar Kun kicking the shit out of them, like actually fighting alongside their pretty much master. So
And I see that in the section where with the ancient lightsaber with Master on, it's like, yeah, that pointy stuff between where the lightsaber comes out. I guess it does have a point, or did they all design those pointy stuff? Because I've been talking about how weird these lightsabers look like in these Tales of the Jedi comics, and it seems like every single one of those lightsabers have those two pointy things between the blade.
yeah.
I mean, was that a trend, or what's the purpose of that? I'm seriously wondering.
Possibly a trend or how the lightsabers were made that time. No idea. I do think Exar Kun's double-bladed lightsaber is probably the most badass of them all.
agree.
So there's that indeed.
In one of the panels where Exar Kun is holding his lightsaber against, like, say, these lightsabers belong to the Jedi, the lightsaber actually looks like a fork, not a lightsaber.
Oh, when he pretty much turns on his lightsaber ready to fight Odd Banar?
Yeah, look at the lightsaber. It doesn't. It looks like a fork.
Oh, it's because he's supposedly twirling it, and it kind of looks like it's after images. So that's probably why. So it's after images, but I could see why you say it looks like a fork. So there's that. Indeed. So anything else to mention on this one?
One other thing. So Exar Kun did end up getting a bunch of tomes and knowledge and stuff that he could use, so he could train other Sith to use that knowledge. So he did end up. Didn't end up being a complete waste. So he did get some stuff.
Yep, indeed. And okay, so now we should get to the last issue. So Last issue. Okay. Well, now let's end this one. So, after Oleg killed his brother, and he pretty much is completely saddened and shocked at what he did. He's mourning the death of his brother. Nomi shows up, and she pretty much, in absolute anger, she uses the Sever Force power that the Jedi Master taught her at the beginning of this story arc, and she manages to completely sever Uli Kyogroma's link to the Force. Yep, no longer a Jedi. He's literally just a normal human being. Yeah, no more Force powers with him. He has no dark side, no light side, nothing. He literally is completely blind to the Force. So yep. Now he's nothing. So, yep. And meanwhile, in Onderon, the Mandalorians are getting ready to pretty much strike Isis on Onderon. And they strike from the Dixon moon. So, yep. They're attacking, and, the Mandalorians and the people of Isis, they're pretty much, engaging in the battle. And the battle ensues. Meanwhile, back at Ossus, Nomi says that she couldn't stop herself. Her anger pretty much completely made her have Ulick Kyogoma completely blind to the Force. So, and yeah, Ulick pretty much says that first he mastered, then his brother, and now his own powers. And he has nothing. So, yep. Indeed.
But did you notice that there is an error? So it does say that first my master Thawne.
Yeah, I know. It's supposed to be Arca, so that's definitely a spelling mistake. So that's why I didn't mention Master Thawne, because it's not Thawne, it's Arca. So, yep. And because Oleg has absolutely nothing, if he even tried to actually kill the Jedi at this point, he literally would lose because he has no Force. So at this point, he had no choice but to pretty much just help the Jedi find Exar Kun and pretty much put an end to this. And, he pretty much helps them, and they pretty much set up a plan to reunite all of the Jedi to attack Exar Kun. Meanwhile, Master Thawne is paying a small visit to Ad Banar, who's pretty much stuck in guarding the lightsabers, and they leave Ossus, and the supernova explodes, and let's just say that the insane heat, it seemed like it vaporized Ad Banar, and and the rest of the Jedi managed to leave Ossus, and they're going to Yavin 4. Meanwhile, back on Onderon, the battle against the Mandalorians and the ISIS people gets fierce, but Republic reinforcements arrived, and they managed to push back the Mandalorians, and they landed on the Dixon moon. And Mandalore the Indomitable, he crash landed far away from his Mandalorian group, and he found some wildlife. Meanwhile, back in Yavin 4, insane fleet of Force wielders, a lot of Jedi, are pretty much preparing to go against Exar Kun. And, yep, they're there. They're orbiting Yavin 4. They're pretty much preparing to attack Exar Kun. And, Exar Kun gets ready to pretty much prepare himself to survive. And, he reunites all of the Massassi in the temple. And, he decides to use a machine to create a Sith ritual where he literally binds his spirit to the Yavin temple. And by doing so, he needed the life force of all the Massassi. So he literally drained all the Massassi life force to pretty much preserve his life in there. And his spirit could have indeed lived forever and gone forever and go whatever he wanted, but the Jedi completely made sure the spirit of Exar Kun would not escape Yavin 4. So he literally is trapped in the Massassi temples of Yavin 4. Yep, so he's trapped in there, and they pretty much managed to take care of Exar Kun, and then we see in the Dixon moon that the Mandalorians are searching for Mandalore the Indomitable. They find the mask, which means that Mandalore the Indomitable died, and one of the Tong, he grabs the mask, and now he says he's the new Mandalore, which is Mandalore the Ultimate, if I'm not mistaken. So, Yep, and there's that. And back in Yavin 4, 2 years later, after Exar Kun did that ritual and after the Republic fleet pretty much destroyed his forces, Ulic Kyogroma visits Yavin 4. He has to see what happened, and well, he sees the barren waste and the remains of the temple, and there's literally nothing. And now here's the thing: Exar Kun is alive. His spirit is indeed preserved. But because Ulic Kyogroma is not connected to the Force at all, because he is blind to the Force, he obviously could not hear Exar Kun whatsoever. And that's how it ends.
Yeah, but this is not the end of Exar Kun, but that's a way, way later story.
Yep. Indeed. So, yep, this is the end of the Sith War. So, guys, what do you think?
In this section of the Duximon, I found two things interesting, like the Mandalorians arrive in Duxon, which would be an important plot point for KOTOR 2.
Mm-hmm.
And if you actually look at them, is it me or these Mandalorians look like predators?
It's the Tong species. That's why they do resemble a little bit the predators in a way. Maybe that was the inspiration when drawing them. But this is basically the original Mandalorians, at least the species. So that's.
And then one of them picks up the mask and says he's the new Mandalore. It's kind of weird. Did anyone object to this? Like saying something like, "Hey, who gave you the right to be? You can't just become Mandalore because you picked up a mask." Did anyone say this?
No idea. No idea on that one though. Maybe in another story arc we'd see. So no idea.
Maybe they would. Yeah, it would make more sense if they like fought for it or voted. I guess like who is the strongest warrior.
Yeah. So according to Wikipedia, Mandalore the Ultimate, which is this one that picked up the mask, he says that he actually upheld the ancient traditions and put on the helmet, thereon claiming his right as leader of the Mandalorians. And then in the years following the death of Mandalore Indomitable, this new Mandalore went on to prove himself worthy of the title Ultimate. So he pretty much actually earned the title of Mandalore.
And
So
despite this Mandalore not looking important, well, within this story's context, this is the same guy who fought against Revan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So indeed, we'll get into the EU connections later on to explain more. But yes. Mm-hmm.
The last section says 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's something I've been wondering. I know only Kyogroma has no force power than anything, but he's somehow just free to go wherever and whatever he wants to do. Like, why doesn't anyone imprison him? Why isn't he in galactic jail or whatever they call it?
There's no need.
What is
There is no need. He's no longer a threat. He has no force powers. Yeah. He cannot use the force. He literally is nothing. He's just a normal human.
But he's a normal human. But a normal human can be a criminal. Anybody could pick up a blaster and go around and shoot people, and they get in prison. But this guy just goes around.
Well, there's that, but because Oleg has nothing, well, there's no reason for him to be a criminal or anything. He's just like at this point he's just lost. He's pretty much like either saddened or pretty much just like lamenting at everything that he's done in as a time of Sith Lord. Like at this point he's just like he's just trying to cope with what's happened, and he doesn't want to do anything evil or anything. Like at this point, there's no more evil. He's just a normal guy that just wants to literally cope with everything bad that he did before. Like he just wants to go in exile, it seems.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is no real reason to restrain Ulic Kyogroma at this point. He's just a nobody.
And, the last panel where Exar Kun is, like, screaming. That scene looks like something from a horror movie.
Yeah, it does look like a horror movie. So, yeah. Which proves that Exar Kun is alive in spirit form, but because he was not force sensitive, well, of course he couldn't hear shit. So Exar Kun literally was abandoned.
Well, abandoned for at least, let's see, how many years?
Well,
2,000 something years.
Well, so many years, and he's been there in Yavin 4 in all this time, and only until much later does he return. So, yep, there is that.
It is an interesting method to sacrifice thousands of Massassi in order for him to live forever. I'm guessing the other Sith did that as well. But in the end, like, even though you do this, oh, I'm gonna live forever by doing this, you're gonna lose by being completely alone and not in touch with anyone unless somebody finds you. And even with Ulick coming in, you know, he couldn't get in touch with him, so now he's just going to be left there for thousands of years. So in the end, he still suffers too, XR.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
he-
seriously. What kind of fate is this? Like, trapped in a dark temple with no one hearing you? Yeah, that's
Live forever, yeah.
it's possible that he wanted to live forever and have his spirit be free, kind of like Freedom Nats. Problem is the Jedi pretty much completely restrained his spirit to just be tied to the Yavin Temple. So
wait. Is this EU connection or whatever? But how does he get out in Jedi Academy?
well, like I said, like he is able to roam around Yavin 4, but outside the planet, nope, he's stuck in the planet.
Oh, so at least he can get out of the temple?
He can get out of the temple and roam around, but his spirit is tied to it. He's unable to leave Yavin 4. So that's how it is. Like, he can do stuff in Yavin 4, but outside of the planet, nope. So that's the limitation of his transfer essence method.
Yeah.
So, there's that. And can we also mention, in regards to force powers, can we also mention Sever Force, aka the one force power where a Jedi can literally make a force sensitive blind to the force? Like,
Yeah, I
insane.
kind of find that problematic from a writing perspective because Nomi obviously trained really less than Smolik, and she just can, be moved or at least lower force potential from a Jedi who trained longer. I mean, what kind of writing is that?
well, there is one way to explain it, but I'll get to it in a bit later in regards to Sever Force, because it does deal with the usage of that force power in other EU sources, so not just this one. So that's why I'll get into it later. So, but yeah, but it is a force power and it exists. So there is that.
I feel like it's much more akin to like more of a dark side power because there are other examples where I won't mention them, but it's like beyond the dark side to do that. And like to think about like, hey, you're taking a light side user or a dark side user and stripping them of the force and leaving them with nothing. It's like for them it's like the force is everything, and without that they're like babies and they want to commit almost like it's like suicide for them. They want to commit like it's terrible as a terrible fate for anyone.
It's terrible, but it's confirmed to be aligned to the light side, not the dark side, which is interesting.
Oh, by the way, if you look at the cover of this issue, wait, what's the character female's name again?
Silver.
Silver. Like, if you look at the cover, the artists who were drawing this knew how to draw female characters. Look at the cover.
Yeah, I see. There is one female Qatar.
Yeah, it's Silver. Like, why didn't they, do it in the main comic? That's the problem with these goddamn comics. When I'm constantly reading, the cover is the best art. When you actually open the book and read it, some of them do look good, but some of them are mediocre at best and terrible, weird arts.
I think, yeah, now that you mention it, I think now is a good time to talk about the art style, since we're at the end. Okay, so my thoughts on the art style, I definitely think it's a step up from the sixth issue of Dark Lord Sith. And I'm glad that it's the same penciler all around. Like, we're not like cycling through pencilers like we did last time. It's the same one, Dario Carrasco Jr. Though the inker definitely changes from the first issue to the others. So the inker does change, but the penciler is the same one. So, which probably would explain why the first issue has Ulick Kyogroma with his green lightsaber, where the others have it in blue. That's probably why, because of different inker and colorist. So it's not really the penciler's fault. It's the colorist's fault on that one. So there is that. But yeah, I actually think the art style is definitely better. It's definitely better than the art style of some of the previous story arcs. Definitely better than the first two story arcs, which is the Beast Wars and the Saga no Mi Sunrider. Definitely better than Freedom Nat. Dark Lords the Sith, I think it's a bit better. I don't know what you guys think of the art style.
The art style. The art style is good enough to know what is going, but it's nothing great. But at the point, the panel where Mandalore has to face against those beasts, that thing was actually drawn well.
I also think Ulic Kyogroma and Exar Kun look really good in this art style. Like, compared to because if you remember in issue 6 of Dark Lords of the Sith, like, they looked a bit cartoonish, not really that menacing. But in the Sith War, in all 6 issues, they really do look like absolute badass Sith Lords. Like, you can really see that they really are just, the dark side's completely taking them for good.
I think all the characters look great. Like Kay, Nomi,
Oh, yeah.
they all had like great looks. Like
Yeah. Nomi's Sunrider is the biggest victim when it comes to these comics because when it comes to some other artists, she looks ugly to the point that it actually hurts me. And I'm not speaking because she is. The artist makes her look ugly as hell.
The second story arc in particular, that was the Jedi. That one. But yeah, so yeah, the other characters, they definitely look good. And Exar Kun and Ulic Kyogroma, like, holy shit, they definitely are probably the best drawn. As well as also the Mandalorians. Mandalorian Indomitable also has been drawn badassly. Like, yeah, I like. And this art style, I definitely think it definitely gets a lot closer to the spirit of Star Wars and the aesthetics of Star Wars compared to the first story arcs, you ask me. Like, I really think this art style definitely is the best that we've seen so far. Unless you guys can think of another art style in the previous Tales of Jedi story arcs. Because I think this is the best one.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I think this is definitely the best, I mean, so far. And, even the battle scenes look so freaking epic. Like, I just love staring at them and seeing, like, all the different fights that are happening in the background. The lightsaber strikes and, all the different figures in the background. Like, I not only the characters, but I feel like the different backgrounds look just amazing.
Yeah, indeed. And it helps. So definitely, it does not look cartoony at all. It definitely looks gritty, realistic. Like, it looks awesome. So yeah. The only thing I'm like the only character I can think of that definitely is not as good. Well, it's good in it's only drawn good in one issue is Olima Keto. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what armor is she wearing in the first issue, and then the issues from 3 and onwards? Like, seriously, the only one that she actually had good looking armor was in the third issue. Is the one that she actually had the best looking armor, because the others like, what the hell? She should have just been using that armor in the third issue, honestly. So, but
By the way, it's a story point I have to mention is that Bima doesn't do anything in any of these stories. Like, it's just the child of the story. Like, seriously, you have as a daughter of Nomi, at least give her something to do. Like, she's just there. She doesn't even say anything.
I mean, I can understand why, because she's like, well, she actually did say, she did have dialogue in the second story arc when they were training with Master Thorn. But in regards to her doing stuff, yeah, well, she also did stuff in, I believe it was in the second story arc and the third one. Like, she had a bit more of a role in the first story arcs, but in here, yeah, it's definitely much more reduced, and it's more because the Sith War is going on, and she hasn't even, she's even at the appropriate age to be trained to become a Jedi Knight, so she's just very young at this point.
And I have to mention this now because, I mean, Exar Kun was originally just a book-based character, right? And to portray a character in a different medium, I think that was a big task for Kevin G. Anderson, and especially, who was the drawer here? Let's see.
The artist? Dario Carrasco.
Dario Carrasco. Like, it was an hard task because Kevin J. Anderson knows what he's doing, right? Because he created the character, but Dario Carrasco is not. He's a drawer, so I think he did a good job. Pulling Kevin J. Anderson's vision.
Yeah, he did a good job. So it definitely works. Chris Gossett in Dark Lord Steve also did a good job with Exar Kun in the previous story arc. It's only when they changed the artist at the last issue where, yeah, that definitely.
But what I have a problem is this: could you have introduced Exar Kun a little earlier? Why do you just put him in only 2 arcs? 2 arcs. Couldn't you have just introduced Exar Kun way earlier when he was dark side?
I think I know why. And the reason for that being that, if I'm not mistaken, Kevin G. Anderson had yet to even write the Jedi Academy trilogy. Like, had yet to start. If I'm not mistaken. But let me check that quickly to corroborate on that. So that's possibly the reason why. Kazuli Kaldroma and Nomi Sunrider, they were like the main. Well, they always have been like the main protagonists of the Tales of the Jedi. So Exar Kun came in until later. So that would be the explanation why.
Jedi Search was 1994.
Yeah, and Tales of the Jedi, at least the first story arc. Okay, so Ulic Kaldroma and the Beast Wars of Onderon Part 1 is 1993, and Nomi Sunrider, the saga Nomi Sunrider Part 1 was December 1, 1993. So that's pretty much why. They came first before Exar Kun even existed. So that's the reason why in the first two story arcs we only have Ulic Kaldroma and Nomi, and the third one they pretty much had to like have them join together in order to later establish the next story arcs, which is Dark Lords of the Sith. So that's the reason why Exar Kun was yet to be established. That's the main reason. So yeah, it does suck. We don't get at least 3 story arcs to Exar Kun in Tales of the Jedi, but the reason is real war situation. So that's why.
Or they could have made an extra arc instead of doing those Golden Age of Sith or something.
They could have, but because of how they ended with the Sith War, I think at that point they couldn't really, because Exar Kun was completely binded into Yavin 4, and they had to make like an entire storylines, like specifically tailored in the Yavin 4 temple, and because we already had that of the Jedi Academy trilogy, you can't really do much for Exar Kun at that point. So there's that. So yeah, it seems like the only thing they could do is the 2 story arcs dealing with the Sith Empire like 1,000 years before the current Tales of the Jedi story arcs, and then of course the last story arc, which is basically a continuation to, or more like an epilogue to the Sith War, which we'll get to much later. So yep, but yeah, that's pretty much the reason why. So real war semantics. So, yeah. But what we got from Exar Kun here in Tales of the Jedi was excellent. With the Sith War, I think, being his best. So, indeed. So, yeah. Anything else, guys?
Yeah.
We should do the EU connections.
Okay, then now we get into the EU connections. And, well, this is the Sith War, so expect a good amount. So, what do you guys got?
The Jedi Academy trilogy, obviously, is referenced. I mean, the dude is freaking in Yavin 4 as a spirit. That's the whole point. I think this was a long excuse. I mean, if you look at it from a certain perspective, this whole Sith War and Dark Lords of the Sith is a 2-arc excuse to show why Exar Kun was in the Yavin Temple.
I mean,
it was a good excuse, nevertheless, but still an excuse.
It's a good one, but well, keep in mind, Kevin G. Anderson was writing the Jedi Academy trilogy, and he pretty much had written that Exar Kun was a Jedi from the Old Republic, and they were doing Tales of the Jedi. So Kevin G. Anderson and Tom Beich, they were like, "Hey, you're writing that comic series. I'm writing this trilogy. How about if we combine the two?" And they made Dark Lords of the Sith. And then after Tom Beich decided to do some other stuff, well, Kevin G. Anderson continued the Sith War. So it worked out. They pretty much had communication together, and well, they did this, and they connected both mediums together, the Jedi Academy trilogy and Tales of the Jedi, and it worked out.
Yeah, the EU has no connections. It was never planned.
Oh boy, there's that. Anyway, so back to EU connections. So any other connections you guys got?
Not a connection, but we finally see the double-bladed lightsaber. That's something.
Well, it actually is a connection with Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Well, that's not the EU. That's the... I mean, I consider the movies as a primary source material, so...
Well, there's that, but we know that George Lucas was taking some stuff from the EU and put them in the prequels. Obviously, Coruscant, the namesake, was one of them. And a double-bladed lightsaber, because it already was introduced in Star Wars. Well, he just said, already in Star Wars? Might as well just introduce it myself. So it pretty much counts. So, yep. There's that. And not to mention double-bladed lightsaber. It being an influence by Exar Kun is even referenced in the Darth Plagueis now, if you guys remember. Darth Plagueis, he was seeing Darth Maul in action when training, I think it was against droids, I remember. And he pretty much, when he saw a double-bladed lightsaber, he was like, Exar Kun! So...
No. Here's the thing. That's kind of confusing because Darth Maul didn't necessarily base his lightsaber on Exar Kun. If you actually play KOTOR 2, there's a weapon called the Zaboka, a Iridorian double-bladed sword.
Well, there's that, but if you remember, Darth Maul's master Darth Sidious, and he and Plagueis, well, they know plenty of the Sith War's history, so it's possible that Sidious just trained him in the same fighting style that Exar Kun used. So that can be the explanation. So it will make sense why Plagueis at least would be like a bit confused in saying why he thinks that Darth Maul, his fighting style looks similar to Exar Kun's, or he's using a weapon that was influenced by Exar Kun. So it works out. So there is that. Any other connections you guys got?
Well, it's getting tired of constantly mentioning KOTOR series, but that's what it is because Knights of the Old Republic mentions a lot about the KOTOR.
Mm-hmm.
Exar Kun is mentioned several times. Uli Kyogroma is also mentioned in KOTOR about how people from the dark side could be redeemed, or why the Jedi is incompetent and their students fell to the dark side. But if you actually think about it, KOTOR 2 says something wrong because Uli Kyogroma didn't really have to turn to the dark side other than infiltration. So I don't know what the KOTOR 2 writers were talking about. Think something stupid.
Well, no idea on that, so there's that. But yeah, there's no way around it. When you're mentioning Tales of the Jedi EU connections, the Knights of the Old Republic games, as well as the Old Republic MMORPG, and even the Knights of the Old Republic comic series, they have all sorts of connections with Tales of the Jedi, because all four of those sources are pretty much referencing Tales of the Jedi to no end. So, and it makes sense because events of the Jedi happened like several years before the KOTOR series, so it just makes sense.
I think Dark Empire also, and I don't remember where, but there's a source actually referencing that Cedrus. Anyone remember Cedrus from Dark Empire?
I remember Cedrus, yeah, from Dark Empire 2, if I'm not mistaken.
He's a descendant of Uli Kyogroma.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. Let me check that, because I actually didn't know.
It's great something number great grandfather is Uli Kyogroma.
That's something. I didn't even know Uli Kyogroma was, did he ever get married? I don't remember. I know he and Nomi had a thing before he went to the dark side. But
I didn't know that.
He would be classified as a unidentified woman, and Uli had a child.
Well, that's a surprise, but we never saw that. I know went pretty much completely in exile after Sith War, so I guess that's one thing that we need some sort of explanation.
The thing is, too, that in Dark Empire, there was also another descendant of Vima. And
I don't that old lady.
Yeah. So, she is definitely... I could see that, but I didn't know about Ulik. Yeah, that was...
Is Cedris QL or Kagalok, as he's called here? Yeah, he's considered a distant descendant of Jedi Knight Uli Kyogroma, which... Damn, that's something.
And other Kyogromas will... There's because there's another cousin. I think there was a cousin. There's other Kyogromas out there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, there probably were other Kyogromas. It couldn't just be Ulik and K. So, there's that. Any other connections you guys got?
Yeah, it's interesting that, at the end of this arc, that the Mandalorians retreat back to Duxon. And then in the end, or in KOTOR 2, after the Mandalorian Wars, and then, when Canderous is setting up the Mandalorians again, they go back to Duxon.
Yep, indeed. Oh, speaking of the Mandalorians, so the Mandalorian Crusaders, aka the first documented type of Mandalorians, established by Mandalore the First, they actually first appeared here in the Sith War, and they've been featured in not only the Knights of the Old Republic comics, but they were even mentioned in SWTOR, and even in Star Wars Empire at War, Force of Corruption, and several other sources like the Essential Atlas, Complete Star Wars Encyclopedia, and even the New Essential Chronology. So you got those there. As for Mandalore the Indomitable, well, of course, he first appeared here. He actually has been mentioned by SWTOR, not only the MMO, but even its tie-in media like the Old Republic Revan book. And he appears in flashbacks on Knights of the Old Republic issue 48. So, and mentioned in issue 8 as well. So there's that. As for Mandalore the Ultimate, aka the successor to the Indomitable, he appears again in the Culture Comics and SWTOR, but he's also appeared in, or at least mentioned in the New Essential Chronology, the New Essential Guide to Droids, the Essential Atlas, Complete Star Wars Encyclopedia, and even the Essential Guide to Warfare. So
like, how many years before? I think this comics like the Sith War. Sith War was like 30 years before Knights of the Old Republic. Is that right?
Is the Sith War, the first issue is 3,996 BBY. So it's like 30 to 40 years before Knights of the Old Republic 1.
Yeah.
So
The world getting closer to the thing we're more familiar towards too. Timeline-wise.
yeah, there's that indeed. So, yep. And other sources, the duel between Kyogroma and Mandalore the Indomitable, that duel has actually been referenced not only in Knights of the Republic issue 48 flashbacks, of course, but also Young Jedi Knight's Delusions of Grandeur. That's something. So,
And we gotta mention how important of a planet Yavin is. So Yavin is appears various times in Star Wars years. We have Exar Kun and the Jedi fighting against here, and then years later we have Anakin and Asajj Ventress fighting in Yavin. I think it was the same temple of Exar Kun, was it?
well, it wouldn't be surprising because the temples we see in episode 4 and Clone Wars, they are the same temples. It's just that apparently Exar Kun didn't do anything when those events were happening. He literally was just waiting until the Jedi Academy trilogy to do anything. So that's how it's explained.
And then there's also the Yavin War. So Yavin seems to be also a place where people constantly fight each other between different factions. First, it was the Sith and the Republic, and then it was against the Separatists and the Republic. Well, technically, Anakin's a Jedi, and Asajj Ventress is a Sith assassin acolyte. So Jedi versus Sith, basically. And then Darth Vader versus Luke Skywalker in Yavin, Jedi versus Sith. Like, yeah, there's a pattern going on here. The light versus dark constantly fight each other in Yavin.
Yeah, there is that indeed. Indeed, so. And what else? Well, there is a deep core world called Kuar, and that actually, well, it first appeared in the first issue of the Sith War, and of course, Culture for issue 48 comic. It's actually featured in Young Jedi Knight's like 4 story arcs: Diversity Alliance, Delusions of Grandeur, Mention in Jedi Bounty, and appears in the Emperor's Plague. I guess the Young Jedi Knights comics, makes sense. Kevin G. Anderson wrote those along with his wife, so it will make sense that he would pretty much tie the events of the Sith War in some way with the Young Jedi Knights. So same author, yeah, no surprise that he's sharing connections. So there is those. Then a core planet called Forost, which was between Kuar and Kaikilis, basically the Forost shipyards. That first appeared here, mentioned in Culture issue 49, and even some of the HoloNet news, like for example HoloNet News volume 531, number 53, and CIA Shadowfeed Dispatch 14701 edition, and several essential guides. So you got those two, and of course the Mandalorian species, or the Tong, as later they will be mentioned as the Tongs, thanks to the apparently the Shadow of the Empire soundtrack, which called them Tongs. So there's that. And then the History of Mandalorians, Star Wars Insider 80, also identified them as Tong species. But they first appeared here in the Sith War. Yep, first appearance right here. And they've been referenced in the Culture comics, in SWTOR, some of the HoloNet news, and Republic Commando 000. So there's that. And of course, several other essential guides, not a surprise there. And Sith meditation spheres. So they were first mentioned here in the Sith War, their first appearance is until a later story arc in Tales of the Jedi, but they were first mentioned here, and they've appeared pretty much in Legacy of the Force, Fear of the Jedi, Crucible, and several other sources. So there's those, and and nuclear bombs. Yeah, nuclear bombs. They actually first appeared here. Surprise. So, yep, they first appeared here, and they've been featured. Culture Comics, Knights of the Republic 2, Sith Wars mentioned, Darth Plagueis mentioned as nuclear weapons, Maul Lockdown is featured there, Star Wars X-Wing, the video game, the New Jedi Order Vector Prime, also used nuclear there, and so on and so forth. And then the axe that was used by Mandalore Indomitable, the Mythosaur axe, that actually has been also featured in the Knights of the Republic comics, of course, and also the History of the Mandalorians, and even the Knights of the Republic campaign guide. And they also appear in an adventure book from Fantasy Flight Games, which is part of the Star Wars Age of Rebellion role-playing series. It's called Friends Like This. So, yep, there's that as well. And Sever Force, aka the Force power that pretty much, you can sever the connections of the Force for a specific Force-sensitive being. Well, first mentioned here and first appeared here in Sith War. It's also been mentioned in SWTOR, Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Wars. It's actually featured there. It's featured in Star Wars Republic Siege of Saleucami. It's featured in Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and even in New Jedi Order. And also Legacy of the Force and Riptide. Yep, it actually appears in those. Like, fully appearances, not just mentions. So, yeah. And the reason why I say that is because the Severed Force that we saw here in the Sith War is a more lethal version where Oleg Kyogroma pretty much got severed from the Force completely, and he had no way to get it back. Whereas the other instances of Severed Force that we've seen in other EU sources, they're not as effective, to say the least. So basically, for example, Kyle Katarn, you guys remember, he pretty much used it to sever the connection himself, but he could actually retain his Force sensitivity if he trained for years. But of course, he used the Battle of the Jedi to pretty much fully restore his connection to the Force instead of going the long, basically going the long journey to reclaim it, but he was able to get a short way. And in Jedi Order, Bergere managed to use ability on Jason Solo to pretty much make sure that he wouldn't escape when he was captured by the Yuuzhan Vong. So Sever Force actually, when a Jedi uses it in another Force sensitive, the Force sensitive that got impacted by it can actually regain the Force. It's just that the one that Nomi Sunrider used was a very lethal one that pretty much made Oleg completely be stripped from the Force completely. Like, he never reclaimed it. So that's pretty much why. So that explains why this ability is not as lore breaking, I guess you could say. So there is that. And in regards to other sources, there's if you remember the Chancellor, the one that was killed by Exar Kun, he actually SWTOR, of course, Codex Sentry, as well as the New Essential Chronology, and even mentioned in Star Wars Insider 28, identified as Idrona. So there's that too. The Trial of Oleg Kyogroma, of course, been mentioned by Knights of the Republic comics and even SWTOR and several essential guides. No surprise there. The Kron system, let's just say that it's only appearances or mentions in the Sith War, but several sources like the complete Star Wars Encyclopedia. So there is that. And then, of course, the Senate Hall, the one we see there. It's actually not the same hall as in episode 1, at least not in the same design-wise, because they actually remade it years after the Sith War. In SWTOR, if I'm not mistaken, they pretty much remade it a bit. So the one that we see is actually a much more evolved version of what we saw in the Sith War, the one that we see in the prequels. So
it's better than a bunch of tables and chairs, because that's fuck.
There's that, yeah. Indeed. Reference to the Senate Hall, Darth Plagueis book, no surprise. Knights of the Republic comics, and even Night Jedi. Yeah, mentioning Night Jedi. So that's something.
Boy, the character Oz Willem, that guy doesn't appear after the Sith War. He just disappears after this arc.
Yeah, not really too surprising. I mean, there's other Jedi that we also don't know what happened to them after. He was mentioned in Republic issue 58, but that's it.
Yeah.
So that's all he got. So there's that. Then there's the Cron Supernova. Oh, that one. Mentioned not only in SWTOR, but also Darth Vader Path Destruction. And Star Wars Adventure Journal 15. Yeah, Adventure Journal 15, because why not?
West End.
Yep. So there's that. And what else? Well, the Battle of Ossus. Well, first appears here, mentioning the Knights of the Republic games as well as comics and even SWTOR, of course. Essential Guides. Yep. Transfer Essence. If you guys remember, that first appeared in Dark Empire, and we see it here. So that's pretty much a connection to Dark Empire. So, yep. There is that. And finally, Mandalore the Ultimate. Well, he appears in Knights of the Republic comics, SWTOR, and, well, yep. So that's pretty much it that I got, guys. If you got any more, well, you can say them. No? Okay. Django, do you got any?
No.
Okay, then shall we go to the conclusion now, if we got no more? Yep. Okay, well, those are all the EU connections, guys. So now we go to the conclusion of the Sith War. So, who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Okay.
It was fun. Like, it was interesting to see Exar Kun and how he ended up the way he did in the Jedi Academy series. And yeah, Sith Wars finally appearing and doing stuff that actually has an impact other than annoying ghosts flying around saying cryptic stuff. Yeah, so I'm pretty much satisfied with the story. I mean, the artwork has some more to desire, but yeah, I'm done.
Okay, Django?
Yeah, I loved it. This was definitely a chaotic war, I should say. And, XR and Ulik didn't get along. You noticed that instantly. But, yeah, I mean, XR definitely held his own. Ulik, killing his brother. There was a lot of crazy events that happened in this war. That was great. And, just to see XR in the end, even though he's my favorite Sith Lord of all time, just to see him lost towards the end, that's like a classic Sith Lord style where his spirit is forever just alone in Yavin 4 is great. And I thought it was great. I loved everything about this story, and can't wait for another certain story with another certain character in here.
Indeed. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, and as for me, the Sith War, damn good story arc in Tales of the Jedi. Damn good. I enjoyed it. It's so far from all the ones we've read, it's definitely my favorite because, not only is the art style better than what we got in previous story arcs, but it also, like, the Sith War was definitely an excellent story to read and witness. It was amazing, and seeing how Ulde Kyogroma and Exar Kun have pretty much just they could have taken the galaxy, but well, certain events happened, and well, they pretty much lost. But it was great, and of course, seeing Mandalorians, awesome. So yeah, it was a great story arc and amazing. And if Tales of the Jedi had ended here, it would have been a great way to end. But there are a few more story arcs that we'll tackle later on. So, yep. And that's pretty much my thoughts on this story arc. Excellent read. Definitely recommend it. Obviously, you have to read the first previous story arcs chronologically. So, there's that. But it's worth it because this one is awesome. So, yep. And with that, well, we finish this story arc of Tales of the Jedi. And we'll see you guys on the next State of Star Wars video. Bye-bye.
See you guys.